Welcome. If you've ever sat in traffic and just started tapping your fingers to the rhythm of the windshield wipers, you get it.
You do. Or if you've seen a dance team move like they're one person.
Exactly. You are experiencing the three basic forces behind pretty much all music and dance.
Rhythm, pulse, and tempo.
And these aren't just, technical terms for music class.
Not at all. They are the invisible blueprint. It's like the architectural plan that everything is built on.
So today, we're going to peel back those layers. We want to show you why understanding this structure is, well, the key to really getting it.
To being a better listener, better performer, or just someone who understands how this stuff is actually made.
Okay, let's start at the absolute foundation. We have to begin with rhythm, but we need a definition that goes beyond just, a pattern.
Absolutely. Rhythm is fundamentally how we arrange sounds and, just as importantly, the spaces between them.
The silences.
The silences, or what musicians call rests. You take a sound, maybe you stretch it out, or you make it short and choppy. You combine those long and short sounds with pauses.
And then you repeat it.
And you repeat it. That's a rhythm.
So the rhythm is the specific pattern itself, the sequence. But that pattern needs something to hold on to, an anchor.
And that anchor is the pulse.
Okay, so if rhythm is the pattern.
The pulse is the steady beat underneath it all. Think of it like a heartbeat. It's consistent, it's unwavering, and it keeps everything perfectly aligned.
And the rhythm can be really busy or really simple,
Mm.
but the pulse just keeps going steady.
Metronomic, exactly. It doesn't change speed or intensity unless the composer tells it to.
Which is fascinating because then we take that steady pulse and we have to organize it, right? We group the beats together.
Right, and that's where we get the idea of meter. If you tap your foot steadily, that's the pulse. But if you start to emphasize, say, every third tap, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you're creating a meter.
And that little group of beats has a name.
We call it a measure or a bar. Each measure has a specific number of beats, and that number really defines the whole feel of the music.
This is so important because that number, the time signature, it immediately tells you what kind of music you're dealing with.
And how you should move to it. If you see a 44-time signature, you know it's common time.
Which is almost everything you hear on the radio.
Pop, rock, hip-hop, you name it. It feels very stable, very squared off. You can count it easily. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But if you just change that one number, switch it to a 34-time signature,
Yeah,
the whole energy shifts.
completely. That 3-beat group creates this circular swinging motion.
That's a waltz.
The waltz is the perfect example. It has that swaying feel entirely because of the meter. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
So it's the conductor's job or the drummer's job to keep that pulse and that grouping absolutely steady.
It's crucial. The whole orchestra, the whole band depends on that steady foundation to stay aligned.
Okay, that steadiness brings us to the speed controller.
Mm.
So we've established the pulse is steady, but how fast is it? That's tempo.
Exactly. Tempo is just the speed of the music. And unlike rhythm, which is sort of abstract, tempo is mathematically precise.
We measure it in beats per minute, BPM.
Right. And I think most people have an instinct for this. For example, 120 BPM.
That feels like a pretty normal walking pace.
And a moderate walking pace for most people, yeah. If you're down at 60 BPM, you're in a slow ballad.
And if you're up at 180 BPM.
You are sprinting, or you're listening to some very fast electronic dance music.
And composers have specific words for this, for changing speed.
They do. If you see the term accelerando in a piece of music, you know it's about to speed up. It builds energy, tension.
And that's got to be a real challenge for a group of musicians, to speed up together perfectly.
It is. A controlled accelerando takes incredible focus. And the opposite, retardando, where the music slows down, that's just as hard.
You usually hear that at the end of a piece.
Right, to signal that it's finishing. But if one dancer or one musician rushes that slowdown, the whole feeling is just ruined.
Okay, so we have the whole framework now. We have a steady pulse, it's grouped into measures, it's running at a specific speed, the tempo. And on top of that, we have the rhythm.
The pattern of sounds and silences.
So how do we take all of that, that invisible structure, and make it visible with dance?
That is the ultimate translation, isn't it? Dance is the physical manifestation of rhythm. You are literally assigning a physical movement, a step, a turn, even a pause to every single sound or silence in a measure.
Wow, so a dancer is processing all this audio information in real time and turning it into precise physical commands.
It demands massive coordination. If a note is short and quick, the movement has to be sharp and fast. If a note is long and held,
The dancer holds the pose, they sustain the movement.
and the real challenge is that they're not just moving to the beat. They have to navigate the stage, they have to be aware of other dancers.
They have to internalize that rhythm so deeply that if the music suddenly changes, they can adjust on the fly.
Instantaneously, without losing their spot.
And that's where the choreographer comes in. They're the person who's designing all this.
They are the architect. That's a great way to put it. They're building this structure of movement right on top of the musical blueprint.
And a good choreographer isn't just making up pretty steps.
No, their job is to make sure the movement highlights what's interesting in the music. They're telling a story with the body that matches the story in the sound.
I know they often use something called an 8 count to structure things.
Yeah.
Why that number specifically?
Well, an 8 count is usually just 2 measures of 44 time put together. It's a really useful block of time.
Long enough for a complex move.
Long enough for a complex move or to travel across the stage, but it still connects directly back to that musical structure. It's a shared language for musicians and dancers.
And you said they highlight things. That means they use the loud beats, but what about the quiet parts?
Oh, the quiet parts are just as important. A great choreographer uses the silences, the lulls, to create tension or to put a huge emphasis on the next movement.
So it's not just about moving, it's about knowing when not to move.
Precisely. That's the difference between just dancing around and actual choreography, using that negative space, that silence, as part of the structure.
So let's talk about the tools that create this foundation. When you think rhythm and pulse, you have to think percussion.
Absolutely. Percussion instruments are the engine room, and the modern drum kit is just a brilliant piece of engineering for delivering a ton of rhythmic information all at once.
Let's break down a really basic rock or pop beat, the one you hear everywhere. What are the core parts?
Okay, you start with the bass drum, the kick drum.
That's the deep, low thud.
Right. That almost always marks beat 1. The downbeat, it's the anchor for the whole song.
Then what about that sharp, cracking sound?
That's your snare drum. In a classic rock beat, that hits on beats 2 and 4. So you have bass on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4.
The backbeat.
That's the backbeat. It's what gives the song its drive. But, the real hero that people often forget is the hi-hat cymbal.
Which just makes that quick little tis-tit-tick sound. What's so important about that?
It creates the groove. It's usually playing faster notes, like eighth notes, filling in all the space. It gives the music forward momentum. Without that constant chick, 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 the beat would feel really empty and slow.
And then you have other things like tambourines or maracas. Those are accents.
Exactly. They add texture, they color in the pattern. And while you have traditional instruments like wooden blocks, today a lot of pop music uses digital drum machines.
To get that perfectly timed beat.
Mathematically perfect, which is often what you want for electronic music.
Okay, so whether you're a drummer or a dancer, you have to internalize this timing. Which brings us to a simple classroom tool, counting.
Counting is how you organize it in your head. For a standard 4-beat rhythm, you just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple.
But what about the faster notes in between?
Right, the subdivisions. For those, we just add the word and. So you count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
And that lets you place every single tiny movement or note exactly where it needs to go.
It does, and teachers will often use a metronome, that little clicking box, to keep everyone at the exact same speed.
It seems like counting out loud in a group would be really important.
Critical. It builds a shared sense of time before it can become, intuitive.
So once you have that internal clock, you can start exploring all these different styles.
Which are really just defined by their unique rhythmic structures.
We talked about the waltz, which is locked into that 3-beat pattern.
That graceful swinging motion. And then you could look at something like ballet, which use these incredibly fluid rhythms. Notes get stretched and squeezed to allow for those long, graceful leaps.
And then there are styles that are way more complex, like Latin dances. Salsa, for example.
Ah, now you're getting into polyrhythms.
Polyrhythms. Okay, what's that?
It's fascinating. It's when you have 2 or more totally independent rhythms playing at the same time over the same pulse.
So the bass might be playing one pattern.
And the percussion is playing a completely different one. It creates these amazing layers of rhythmic tension. It's why Latin music feels so incredibly rich and dense.
Speaking of things that feel compelling, we have to talk about syncopation. It's what makes music feel so bouncy and catchy.
Syncopation is all about surprise. It's when you deliberately put the emphasis, the accent, on a beat that's normally considered weak,
The offbeat.
the offbeat. In that 44 rock beat, 1 and 3 are strong, but syncopation hits the and in between the
It's
numbers.
like you're walking up a staircase and suddenly one of the steps is in a weird place. It makes you kind of stumble or adjust.
That is the perfect analogy. Instead of a steady march, the rhythm feels jagged, bouncy. It's the absolute core of jazz, of funk, of so many modern styles.
But for a dancer, that has to be a real mental workout.
Oh, it takes intense focus. You have to keep that main, steady pulse in your head while your body's moving against it, hitting all those offbeats.
That skill set, that intense focus, brings us to why this is all so good for us, way beyond just performing.
Absolutely. Moving to a rhythm is fantastic for your body and your brain. Physically, it's amazing for coordination. You're telling different parts of your body to do different things at the same time. And it's great cardio, of course.
And what about mentally?
The mental benefits are huge. It's proven to reduce stress because it forces your brain to focus on an external pattern, which interrupts, that loop of worry.
And it must help with memory, remembering all those sequences of steps.
It boosts memory for sequencing, for sure. And when you do it in a group, like in a band or a dance class, you're building cooperation and spatial awareness. You're strengthening these really important connections in your brain.
It makes sense that we're so drawn to it. I mean, rhythm is literally everywhere in the world around us.
It is. It's not just in music. Think about the rhythm of waves crashing on a shore or rain on a roof.
Or even just the rhythm of walking or breathing.
Exactly. Even huge, slow rhythms like the changing of the seasons or the rising and setting of the sun. We are biologically hardwired to recognize and respond to patterns.
So when we dance or play music, we're tapping into something ancient.
You're participating in one of the most universal human behaviors. It's a way communities have connected for thousands of years.
You see that so clearly in traditional folk dances.
You do. A lot of these dances have very simple, very repetitive rhythms. And that's on purpose.
So anyone could join in.
Anyone, regardless of skill. They were designed for the whole community to participate and connect with their history, their heritage. Moving together in circles or lines keeps everyone in sync.
It's a powerful physical connection to each other and to the past.
So understanding this relationship between rhythm, pulse, and tempo, it's really the key to decoding not just a song, but the patterns of our whole world.
So next time you hear a song you can't get out of your head, listen a little closer. Try to find the pulse, count the meter, and listen for that syncopation. You'll realize you're hearing a perfect little piece of architecture.
See you next time.